Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. Today we want to talk with you about divine neutrality, the importance of maintaining a higher, more non-attached, neutral vantage point, even amidst all of the chaos and the disruption going on politically in the U.S. and around the world, in relationships between countries, in many cases, and to some degree in our own personal lives. It's very important to step away from getting attached and drawn into specific stories and time frames and outcomes that we think need to happen or how things must happen or should happen. We really need to step away, that divine arm's length, and see everything from the bigger picture, which is the ascension is happening, and that everything that happens, all events worldwide, within the US, within our personal lives, are serving that ascension, whether they look like it or not in the moment. Do watch until the end of the video, as we will be offering 2 or 3 live energies for you to accept or not accept. And also I'll be extending an invitation to you as well. And of course, as always, if you find the video helpful, please remember to click like, subscribe, make comments, share it with your friends. It helps with the algorithm. Thank you. So let's talk about neutrality, non-attachment, and coming from the higher vantage point. You can absolutely come from a higher vantage point and see everything in terms of serving the ascension and everything will be fine, and have essentially eyes in your head to have personal opinions about whether the actions of a certain person or a certain group of people are based in love and heart, whether they're intended to be helpful to everyone, or if they're more fear separation based and are basically creating harm and destruction to people. Of course, we can have opinions about that, but we can still see from the higher vantage point that it doesn't matter. It's all serving ultimately the ascension. All the actions and events that we are witnessing right now, whether they look like it or not, are expressing and facilitating the ascension from the old fear separation based paradigm into the higher love, unity, cooperation, best for everybody paradigm. This is also a time, as you know, of great exposure of everything that is not true, the exposure of corruption, the exposure of more personal need, fear-based agendas, again, in our personal lives and on the world stage. And we need to maintain our neutrality about that. Honestly, whether you were a Trump fan or a Biden fan, hated Trump, hate Biden, doesn't matter. Corruption, wherever it is going to be exposed, and we need to be ready for that and really okay with it. It's like, if it was corrupt and if it was a lie and if it was deception, don't we want to know about it, whether it was someone we believed was pure of heart or not? We have to maintain a neutrality of whatever is corrupt, whatever is not based in love and truth is going to be exposed. That's okay. That's what we want. And that, again, that's on the world stage, that's within governments, that's within our own personal lives. That's why I said in the last video I posted, personal relationships are either migrating up into a higher vibe state of love and unity, or relationships, friendships, marriages based in old fear-based personal need paradigms are breaking apart because they're not based in the highest love, heart-centered truths. So since it's so front and center in everybody's attention right now, let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump, Zelensky, Russia. Whether you love Trump or hate him, what we have to recognize from the higher vantage point is he is an agent of change. He is literally expressing and facilitating the breakdown of what was normal, what was the old world order, literally, even in terms of how the countries on the planet interact together. He's breaking that all down. And again, whether you love Trump or hate him, we have to recognize that he's broken up old norms, old expectations, old alliances and relationships with other countries. He's already changed the way the U.S. is seen in the world, the role the U.S. plays. And that is not a bad thing. When you're changing from one paradigm to another, it's sort of like if there's a field that you want to plant with a new crop, you have to first go into the field and break up the old soil that's been all hard and encrusted and compacted and full of old roots and dead plant bodies, and it's just this crust that nothing almost can break through. You have to go through and bust that all up completely and turn it and get it to all fresh, new, ready for new growth soil. Then you can plant your new crop and off you go into the new paradigm, so to speak. And so very much, again, love him or hate him, Trump has done that. I won't say he's doing it. He is doing it, but he's done it. Things are already irreversibly, irrevocably changed. And that's not a bad thing. The U.S. role, so to speak, getting back to that idea of truth, I call it unmasking. We were all taught as kids in school, basically to think of the U.S. as the good guys, the guys in the white hats that ride around and save the world from anything that's not freedom and goodness and democracy. Well, that's a little bit overblown. The U.S. has been the dominant world power, and the U.S. has military bases all over the planet. The U.S. has consistently had its fingers in nearly everybody's business and very much calling the shots for European Western countries. And even in countries where the U.S. hasn't been calling the shots per se, like Japan and China and maybe countries in South America, everything the U.S. decides or does or doesn't do still has a profound effect on what everyone else is doing and deciding to do around the world. So the U.S. has really been the big boy on the planet. And again, we were, I believe, taught to look at the U.S. as sort of the big brother that charges around doing good on the planet. That has not been 100% true. You and I both know that they've entered into a couple of wars that didn't need to happen, that were more over just U.S. oil interests. Back in the days of Teddy Roosevelt, the U.S. was supposed to help the Philippines, was an ally to the Philippines to get out from under the rule of Spain. But what the U.S. wanted and what they really did was take the Philippines from the Spanish government. And there's a book called The Imperial Cruise, in which all of this is explained. One of the soldiers that was involved in that war in the Philippines, it wasn't to liberate the Philippines from the Spanish. It was to take the Philippines from the Spanish and keep the Philippines for itself, for the U.S. And one of the soldiers involved in that conflict wrote here almost verbatim, we were told it was our job, we were expected to go in and kill the men and rape the women and take the Philippines for the U.S. Another example from that same era is the U.S. evidently, during a time when opium, I don't know if it was opium wars or whatever, I'm not an expert on history, especially for China, but in China, opium was illegal. They were trying to keep the drug out of the country, and so the U.S. was parking ships in the sea there below China, I guess the South China Sea, with opium to illegally run opium into the country. So I'm just saying, we have not always been the good guys in the white hats. And it's just time to understand that things have not been so black and white, so simple. So some unmasking needs to happen. That's that idea of truth and corruption exposed, revealed, comes in. It's not a matter of not being patriotic. It's a matter of everyone stop lying about who and what you are, what we are as a country, as individuals, become very authentic and self-aware of who and what we really are, and go on from there. And those of us and those countries and those leaders that are more love and heart-based, we'll all vibrate there together. And those that are more fear, separation, keep up the conflict-based, will keep vibrating where they vibrate. And as has been said by some higher dimensionals, not only will a lot of the population start vibrating from the negative fear separation-based paradigm, but so will also some world leaders and governments that were vibrating with the negativity and the separation and the agenda, yours, mine, destruction, separation, negativity, fear, lack, that some of those are indeed, as we speak, shifting into a higher vibe and into a different way of thinking and feeling about things. So the U.S. has been seen as the white hat, big brother, definitely stability. That's why the US dollar has been so strong and been the world currency for so long. Just stability. You can always count on the US to behave a certain way and play this role in the world. Well, Donald Trump has turned all of that on its head. There is no longer an absolute defense of a country, Ukraine, that wants independence and democracy. We're actually in trade wars now with some of our closest, best trade partners. We're at odds with many of our closest allies now. And Trump is championing sort of a return to good old-time imperialism. Annexing Canada as the 51st state, taking over Greenland. You can have your own personal opinions as to whether these things are helpful and beneficial to the world and the U.S., or they're destructive and harmful. You can have your own personal opinions. But the bottom line is Trump has changed the way we're seen in the world. Now our closest trading partners and allies are literally saying our number one goal is to gain independence from the U.S. Our number one goal is to defend ourselves against the aggression of the U.S. Literally. Canada is afraid that Trump is going to impose these tariffs, weaken their economy so that they have no choice but to be annexed. Not kidding. So again, regardless of what you think about all that personally, and it's fine to have personal opinions, and it's fine to see what's going on, we always need to be able to come back to the higher picture and say, yes, and the ascension is happening. We are all rising into a higher, more love, heart-based vibration where there's cooperation and unity. Unity does not mean loss of individuality and all the wonderful, beautiful countries and individual creativity. That's not it. But cooperation, where everyone cares that everyone in their ginormous world and galactic family do well and have what they need. Internally, Donald Trump has been testing the bounds and bringing out the weaknesses and holes in the U.S. Constitution, which I think everybody thought was so perfect and so bulletproof. And now we have learned very quickly that nothing is bulletproof and that the forefathers didn't foresee every situation and that there are lots of holes in it and lots of ways people can get around the intention of the Constitution. So what I'm saying is everything has changed on the world stage and even internally, domestically within the U.S. When he was installed as president and started making these changes immediately, I almost just saw him as have a big baseball bat in a piñata and him just breaking up whatever had been there. He's just breaking it up. My husband said, "Oh, he's like taking a sledgehammer." I've come to think of it as Humpty Dumpty. Donald Trump has broken up old norms. It's already done. Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. He had a great fall, and he can't be put back together again. That's that busting up of the field that I talked about. That makes room, as sort of chaotic and sometimes, if you let yourself go there, as scary as it can look. You don't need to be scared. Just know that it's part of that breaking up of the old paradigm. Donald Trump and his actions and the actions of everyone around the world are expressing and facilitating the breakdown of the old fear, separation, lack, adversarial paradigm so that the new institutions and the new way of being together can come up. Everything has been and is being broken up so that there's lots of light and air and room for the new to arise, for the new higher vibrational version of the earth and of us as humans. The wonderful thing about all of this going on is it's really making us assess where we are, how we do feel, what we do want to see for ourselves as nations, for us as a people who we want to be as human beings, and what we don't want to see. So it's really forcing us to take a hard look, both individually and as countries, who and what we want to be going forward on the planet. I will share something with you here that I brought up in the last video I posted, which, by the way, it's a longer video. It's 50 minutes long, and it's called Energetic State Predictions for 2025. Mass upgrades, upheavals, timelines, Trump and Ukraine, 3 days. I really shared a lot of information. There was a combination of information I've gathered from my highest, most trusted, higher dimensional, other dimensional sources, and also information that's been shown to me by my own spirit guides. I'll leave a link below and a card at the end of this video so that you can watch it if you want. It is 50 minutes long. I broke it into chapters though, so that you can go to the portions that you have time to watch. So I will share with you something I said in that video that was information shown to me very directly by my own spirit guides. That whole war, Gaza to an extent, but that whole war, Ukraine, Russia, how Trump is or isn't helping or reacting, is all like actors on a stage. They're putting on a play for us so that we can see what's going on, and we can really take a look at ourselves and make choices about who and what we are going forward, who and what we want to be going forward, what is and what is not okay for us as a human species and a world going forward. And specifically, very much Zelensky particularly, but Trump and probably Putin too, but I just saw it so clearly. Zelensky absolutely as the David against Goliath right now. That's a soul contract for him. He came in to be an actor in that play. They're all here by agreement, like I said, as actors to act out in a play so that we can see sort of in 3D, full living color, real time, energies playing out and what we do and do not want to vibrate with. With Zelensky particularly, I saw soul contract. I mean, he really agreed to come in and be this sort of heroic David against Goliath figure, meeting with world leaders and staying strong against the aggressions of the great superpower, Mother Russia. So again, back to the idea of divine neutrality. We can see what's going on. We can see the story that is being played out. We can see how the energies and the dynamics are playing out in physical events on the world stage in our own lives. And we can still maintain the higher vibrational vantage point where the truth is, regardless of the truths and the corruptions that are exposed, and if they come where we expected them or where we like them to come from or not. The truth exposed is the ascension is happening. We want to be part of it. We agree to be part of it. And we agree to let everything that we see, even the most disturbing parts of it in our own lives and on the world stage, be facilitating and expressing the ascension, the breaking up of the old paradigm, and making room for the new. You guys, it is not in our power to control how things go. We do not make things go a certain way. We are in control of what we consciously, deliberately choose to vibrate in. Which version of the species, which version of the world order do we want to participate in going forward? Then that is the one we choose to vibrate with. This is not naivety. It is not Pollyanna. It is not denying other possibilities or things going on. It's saying, yes, I see all that. And I choose to hold all of this as facilitating and expressing the ascension that I agree to be part of. That is your power as a conscious co-creator and creator of your own reality. So let's take a few moments to invite in a couple of live energies. These are being facilitated and offered and magnified by my teachers and mentors, the Arcturians. So we'll start with the energetic state, morphic field of neutrality. There you go. Divine neutrality. And I see I'm seeing the word update here. You guys are taking this in, which, by the way, you can take in these energies or not. It is always up to you. Neutrality, I'm actually seeing energy spiral upwards here, and I'm seeing update, update. The neutrality that we can see what's going on without being drawn into it, without getting sucked into it, getting emotionally involved in who struck John, who does what, exactly how things go, who gets exposed. That's all stuff down in the lower vibe. This is everything is into the ascension. Everything is facilitating the ascension, and it's all good. Even the things that look very messy and chaotic and unpleasant right now. Neutrality. Here we go. The next is releasing ourselves from the shackles of the fear-based paradigm or rule set that we've been living in. The shackles were not placed upon us by someone else. We agreed to them. We put ourselves in the collar, so to speak. And this is where we agreed to undo the collar and step out and say, I don't have to play within those rules anymore. I literally step out of that construct. I don't accept it anymore. And I have the freedom and empowerment to do that. A letting go of judgment. When we say corruption exposed, corruption revealed, let's get out of the good, bad, right, wrong judgments around that. It's simply what is not true, what is not love or heart-based. It's simply actions that are or were taken by people or groups that were based in fear and lack and getting domination and control over someone. It's based in adversarialness. It's a corruption, as in almost the way, for instance, if you had a glass of champagne and there were a dead fly in it, that dead fly is a corruption in the champagne. It's not good or bad. It just doesn't belong there. So a release of all the emotional judgments, good, bad, right, wrong, around corruption revealed. It's just recognizing, acknowledging, and releasing what doesn't fit in the love, heart-based paradigm. Right. I just felt you all shift. And anything that isn't based in light, love, and truth, no matter who it is or what it is, whose side it came from, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, that's not where we want to be, and that's not what we want to hold on to, right? And I just picked up that you who are watching this, it's like, yeah, but there's a stability that we've understood it this way, I've understood it this way, and you're taking away my stability the way I knew it. Let your new stability be light, love, truth. There is nothing more safe or stable than that as your baseline. I'm seeing update again. There's nothing more safe or stable as a baseline than that. Trust that. Yes, and I know that the unknown is scary because we don't know what it's going to look like. That's where that trusting that, I'll put it this way. If you're very hungry and someone calls you to dinner, you don't have to worry about what's being served. All you need to know is you're hungry and there is what you need being served. That's all you need. Just know, love, trust, heart-based truth. And I just saw an acceptance of that as your new baseline stability. See how nice that feels? You're no longer at the mercy of the who struck John going on down in sort of what I call down in the mud. So I hope something I said today helped you out. I will invite you to join me for my Sunday Spirit Talks on the second and fourth Sunday of every month at 4 p.m. Eastern. I do a live Zoom call with anyone who wants to attend. To register to attend a Spirit Talk, you can go to my registration page on my website. I will leave a link to that below. And I do these on a free or donate what you wish basis. So please feel free to join us. If you are one of my Patreon paid members, you are automatically registered for all Spirit Talks, and you will always receive a recording of the Spirit Talk if you weren't able to attend live. So I hope you'll think about starting to join us on the second and fourth Sunday of every month. Blessings.